Hello, and thanks for watching the Doom Boomer. I'm Conroy Pitt, and I take a weekly or so look at the doom that's rolling towards us like a storm across the water. The four horsemen of war, pestilence, famine, and death are now TikTok stars. I didn't even know what the hell TikTok was a year ago, and for a while it seemed to be mostly young ladies flouncing about. But now it's breaking news from the front lines of World War III. At any rate, here's my TikTok. World War III is 2 weeks old now. Putin's campaign of conquest to regain lost glory has ground to a halt in the mud of Ukrainian spring. Their 40-kilometer-long convoy has been sitting on the road to Kyiv for 10 days now. Morale in the largely conscript army is in the toilet. Update. The convoy is now dispersed, taking up positions closer to Kyiv, as the Russians seem to be creeping forward with their advance. Different reports say that Russia has lost over 5,000 troops in the first 2 weeks, a staggering number, including a number of major generals and a lot of hardware, helicopters and tanks and so forth. The next number of nights will be very cold, so keep the tanks running, boys. The Russian people are being arrested for protesting in the thousands in Russia. A slew of Western businesses have shut down operations in Russia. Now what we have is a frustrated and largely conscript army lashing out at civilians through looting and shooting and arbitrary shelling of civilian neighborhoods. A tactic to break the will of the Ukrainian people, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything but hardening the will. This was a strange gambit for Putin. If it's a game, it isn't chess, it's risk. Putin is doing some weird endgame strategy, but he seems to have forgotten Rule 7 of risk. It's not a good idea to go on a suicide mission to get a card, but in some instances, it can be quite strategic to sacrifice one of your armies for the greater good. If you go on a suicide mission, other players might start to do the same, which could lead to them weakening their defenses and putting themselves in vulnerable positions. So maybe Putin thought China would attack Taiwan. Maybe they will. Maybe the USA will invade Canada. Whatever his plan was, it obviously didn't play out. So we're going to witness one of what I think are three possible outcomes. Keep in mind that the Doom Boomer was predicting Putin would not invade just a few short weeks ago. So don't base your bomb shelter purchase plans on my predictions. Putin will continue to grind away at the Ukrainian people for weeks to come. Zelensky may be killed. Kiev may fall. The hope is to break their spirit, but as in any military operation, you also need to gain strategic and tactical control of the place you're trying to capture. And that hasn't happened. Apparently, even 2 weeks in, the Ukrainians still have an air force, which is absurd given expectations for Russian military might. Their propaganda machines had us all expecting Ivan Drago. Instead, we got Red Dawn. I forget how that one ends, to be honest, but for Putin, it will be a fatal wound. His other option is to be a cynical pragmatist, find a reason to withdraw. Zelensky may even stay in power, and Putin can declare himself a victor without a shred of shame, Trump style. But he'd be severely weakened, and Russia would be wounded. Or he could say fudgios and just hit the button. Then what? Well, I don't know. The Doom Boomer is a prepper, but it's not a prepper show. I'm not sure if having a basement full of beans will do a lick of good. We would have less than 30 minutes to find shelter, while America would try to intercept any incoming missiles with the missile defense system. Now, the doom boomer is a bunker half full kind of guy, and 30 minutes sounds like a lifetime to me. A ballistic missile aimed at North America would be detected by a series of satellites and warning systems overseen by the U.S. Strategic Command. As soon as an alert has been issued, public safety officials would advise people to find shelter immediately, such as in basements, subways, or in the center area and middle floors of a high-rise building, away from windows. Public Safety Canada recommends that people keep an emergency kit or bug-out bag prepared beforehand for times like this. The doom boomer thinks it's a good idea to have about a month's worth of food, and the motto is to eat what you store and store what you eat. So your food is always fresh, even in your final month after a nuclear war. According to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Emergency Preparation Guide, those who survive the blast should be prepared to stay inside or underground for at least a day to avoid the high radiation levels in the air. People in most areas could be allowed to come out within a few days or evacuate to unaffected areas. Those in areas with the highest radiation levels might need to shelter in place up to a month. So with that in mind, I think I'll wrap this up. I've been told that less is more with the doom boomer. I will be back soon, though. I want to talk about that Z painted on Russian equipment and Russian nationalism in general. So until next time, if there is a next time,